There is reason to be cautious and discerning when the Catholic Church uses the term the common good. While on the surface the phrase aligns with moral language and social justice, a deeper analysis reveals potential concerns that reflect a hidden agenda, forewarned in Bible prophecy. The phrase common good is broad and malleable, often used to justify collective action, even when it infringes on individual conscience and liberty. In Catholic social teaching, often abbreviated as CST, the common good subordinates individual rights to the perceived needs of the community or the Church's view of moral order. The Church has been channeling this concept of common good into social policy. This aligns with the prophecy in Revelation 13, where coercive religious laws will be enforced for the so-called good of society, particularly through the Sunday law movement. Catholic social teaching, as outlined in the Compendium of the Social Doctrine of the Church, stresses that human rights must be understood in the context of truth and the moral law. Rights that contradict the moral order are not authentic rights and can be restricted to preserve the common good. This demonstrates CST's principle that authentic freedom and rights must be exercised in harmony with the Catholic view of objective moral order. When they are not, the Church teaches that the common good prevails, even if this restricts certain expressions of personal liberty. Example 1. Limiting the right to private property for the sake of the common good. While the Church defends the right to private property, as stated in documents like Rerum Novarum and Quadragesimo Anno, it also teaches that this right is not absolute. The universal destination of goods, the idea that the earth's resources are meant for all, takes precedence. How this subordinates individual rights. A person has the right to acquire, hold and use wealth or land as they see fit. This is the Church's response. If a person's use or hoarding of property harms the poor, contributes to systemic injustice, or deprives others of basic needs, the state and society have the right, even the duty, to intervene or redistribute resources for the common good. Remember, these injustices are based on Catholic views and agendas and not necessarily reality. Ellen G. White in Maranatha, page 180, said, "Houses and lands will be of no use to the saints in the time of trouble, for they will then have to flee before infuriated mobs, and at that time their possessions cannot." Pope Francis in Laudato Si calls for limits to economic freedom when it damages the environment and social equity. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 17, 16. "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." 17. "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Example 2. Sunday observance laws. The Church supports civil laws that protect Sunday as a day of rest and worship, as seen in Dies Domini by Pope John Paul II and Compendium sections 285 to 286. The Church's position, the civil authority should protect Sunday as a day for worship, family and spiritual reflection. This is considered part of the common good, even for secular societies. The implication for Sabbath keepers. These laws historically, and in some regions presently, coerce or restrict Seventh-day Sabbath observers by penalizing Sunday labor while ignoring Sabbath observance on Saturday. Pope John Paul II, Dies Domini, section 67. Even in our own day, it is necessary to ensure that civil legislation respects the duty to keep Sunday holy. This is one of the most direct examples where Catholic so-called moral teaching has led to laws that override individual religious liberty in favor of the Church's view of the common good, at the expense of biblical Sabbath keepers. Linking civil and religious authority, St. Thomas Aquinas teaches that the state must serve the higher good, God, and is therefore not secular in aim. Catholic doctrine envisions a harmony between church and state under so-called divine law. Historical and magisterial roots of the phrase, the common good. Scholastic origin around 1274. Thomas of Aquino, who lived from around 1225 to March 7th, 1274, was an Italian Dominican friar and priest. He made the first use of the phrase bonum comune, a Latin phrase that translates to common good, systematically defining the common good as the common end of political community. Rerum Novarum, or Rights and Duties of Capital and Labour, is an encyclical issued by Pope Leo XIII on May 15, 1891. He states that citizens can and ought to contribute to that common good in which individuals share so advantageously to themselves. Pacem in Terris is a papal encyclical issued by Pope John XXIII on April 11, 1963. It stresses that both state and world community authorities must aim at the recognition, respect, safeguarding and promotion of the rights of the human person in service of the common good. The Compendium of the Church, published in 2004, affirms that the common good is indivisible. It is neither a mere aggregate of individual goods nor a utilitarian calculus, and political authority exists precisely to guarantee it. So when the Catholic Church promotes laws or policies for the common good, it is actually advocating for legislation based on Catholic doctrines and agenda, not necessarily public welfare. This opens the door for religious intolerance under the guise of social harmony, which mirrors the prophetic picture of an image to the beast enforcing worship. The language of peace, unity and social order sounds benevolent, but history and prophecy informs that these ideals mask coercion and compromise. Ellen White warns that Satan often works through a form of godliness and deceptive alliances, especially involving the Papacy and Protestantism. This is detailed in her book, The Great Controversy, chapters 35 and 36. The common good will become a pretext for suppressing dissent, especially from those who hold to the biblical Sabbath over Sunday. The use of common good by the Catholic Church serves as a strategic platform to reassert papal influence over civil policy, promote Sunday observance as moral and necessary, undermine individual conscience in favor of collective unity, and suppress economic freedom as stated in the Revelation. This aligns with prophetic interpretation that identifies the Papacy as the first beast of Revelation 13, which seeks to unite church and state and enforce worship contrary to God's law.